All right, so if you're a sales rep trying to figure out how to take your game to the top 1%, or you're trying to get into sales, then you are not gonna wanna miss this video. We're gonna go over the 4 things that you absolutely have to master if you wanna be in the top 1% and start making the $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 per year in a commission-based sales role. And this is exactly what I did to do 6 President's Clubs in sales between 3 different billion-dollar companies that I sold in before launching the sales agency and turning that into a 7-figure company by my 2nd year in business. So let's dive right in. Okay, let's go over the first one. Okay, there's gonna be 4 different buckets, and number 1, in my opinion, is the reason why people set themselves up for failure to begin with. They put the cart before the horse, and they try to do all the other stuff like what to say, how to say it, when to say it. We're gonna get into all that in a little bit, but the first thing, the reason why they bottleneck themselves from the gate is going to be mindset. People do not go in understanding that this game of sales and being in the top 1% is freaking difficult. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're in sales and you want to make 40 grand a year, 60 grand a year, maybe 80 grand a year, to be honest, like that's kind of a walk in the park. If you get on a good offer in the corporate world, it's going to be pretty easy to do that. But mindset coming in, you have to be able to know like, okay, this is going to be difficult. I'm going to have to take a lot of calls. I'm going to learn how to work on my own behaviors, which are going to sleep at the right time, waking up at the right time, managing my calendar, making sure I'm also pursuing other hobbies. So this way I'm not identifying as my work, to make sure that I am also reading to further my education so I can become more holistic, become more of an asset in whatever I do in life. Also manage your relationships, manage your family relationships as well, not just like personal relationships. All these things typically fall to the wayside when a sales rep goes into sales without the wrong with the wrong headspace. So if you want to be able to make sure that you're set up in the arena to be successful, you need to make sure that your headspace is right and go in knowing it's going to be tough. You're going to put in a lot of hours. It's going to take time to learn this new skill set. It's a new language, man. Sales is a new language. It's like if you're trying to learn Spanish or you're trying to learn French or a different language and you're taking Rosetta Stone and you're frustrated that you're not fluent and have that really sexy accent just because you've been doing Rosetta Stone for a month and you haven't been able to do it. Like, you know it's going to be tough learning a new language. You don't expect to be fluent in a month. Okay, you don't expect to be fluent necessarily in a year, right? You probably won't have that same accent, that same everything else that somebody else has that's been speaking that language for a decade, right? Like, I've been doing this for a decade, y'all. So if you watch my videos, I've been at the game a while, okay? It didn't just happen overnight. You know, there are plenty of long nights of studying, looking at flashcards, writing objections, flipping them, reading them, getting told no. I've been told no way more than I've been told yes. Okay, that is the game. The more no's you get, the more yeses you get. If you're not pushing for a lot of no's, you're probably not gonna get a lot of yeses, or the yeses are gonna be extremely limited. Okay, so that's number 1. Let's get into number 2. This is going to be tactical. This is stuff that dang near everybody is already familiar with. What do I say when somebody says this? That's tactical. How do I say this when somebody says this? That's tactical. These are all things that are reactive. And you can be proactive with tactical as well, where you're leading a conversation or you're navigating the flow of the sales call through asking certain question stacks and going in and knowing when to say a certain thing. Those are all tactical. It's the most attractive thing in sales to most people because they can go in and feel like they're more in control of a situation because it's so much easier to understand, right? It doesn't take rocket science to where if I write down words on a sheet of paper to what to say, you'll know what to say because they're right in front of you. Then there's the practice you have to have on how to say it, right? So that's what to say, when to say it, how to say it. That's tactical. Okay, that's the easiest thing in sales to learn. Most people don't want to do it because it does take practice. And some people see sales as sleazy, which they shouldn't be in the sales game anyway. They're more than likely gonna fail unless they shift that headspace. This is tactical, y'all. All right, so it's the easiest part of sales. So remember, mindset, tactical. Now let's get into number 3. Number 3 is gonna be strategy. I cannot tell you how many sales reps that I've worked with. I've trained thousands of reps over the last 5 years just within the sales agency, let alone my professional sales career the decade prior to launching the sales agency. And what I can tell you is most sales reps have no idea how to manage their pipeline, which is where they keep all the leads in the CRM, how to structure their stages so they can monitor each stage of the sales cycle, what to say within each stage, how to leverage holidays, how to leverage specific segmented lists that they could call or message or text, how to leverage holidays, how to leverage the end of the month. This is all strategy. How to get referrals so you can turn 1 deal into 2 deals into 3 deals, how to negotiate your commission so this way it makes sense for you to spend your time doing that. This is all strategy, okay? So many reps get caught up. Well, first of all, they don't even start out well, right? Because they don't have the mindset. But then they get caught up in the tactical where they think things are not working, or let's say things do work, they end up getting bottlenecked and limited by their time and just how many calls they can take because they have no strategy on how to maximize calls taken. That's how you're able to turn the same amount of, like let's say you're 40% closer on connected calls. That's how you can take an excellent closer and turn them into a legend, is by being able to figure out how to maximize their time within each call and to be able to turn 1 deal into 2 deals into 3 deals, how to maximize situations like the end of the month or certain stages in the sales cycle or certain holidays. So this way you can be able to influence more prospects to get started today rather than later. This is how you can also shorten sales cycles. Most people miss this piece of the game, and it's too bad because they could be making 2, 3, 4 times as much money with the same amount of time, energy, and effort. So it's unfortunate, but this usually goes overlooked because it's not sexy, okay? Most people get caught up in the tactical because it's sexy. Most people overlook mindset because it's not sexy, okay? Strategy is not sexy. The last quadrant we're gonna go over, which is the 4th thing. So remember, we've talked about mindset, we've talked about tactical, and we've talked about strategy. Now we're gonna go to number 4. This one is sexy and it's extremely attractive, in my opinion, if not more attractive than tactical. And this 4th quadrant is known as EQ, emotional intelligence. Is so attractive because it's understanding how the mind works. And anybody in sales wants to be able to know, what can I say, how can I say it, when can I say it, and knowing how the brain works allows you to be able to better position the timing of which those things occur. So EQ is so important because you're reading other things like body language, right? Verbal, nonverbal cues, knowing whenever to leverage those situations. You've probably heard the saying, there's a time and place to do this. That's EQ, understanding when that moment in time is. Anyone that has read anything about neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, you're probably familiar with this. Some great books around this is Sleight of Mouth, Psycho-Cybernetics, also a great book for this, but understanding how the brain works. If you can understand this and have enough awareness around verbal and nonverbal cues. Verbal cues are obviously people saying words. Nonverbal cues are going to be the tone, the cadence, the delivery of the words said. Okay, if you can learn to pick those things up or pick up language patterns within what people are saying, these are all going to give you so much leverage. It's actually going to be an unfair advantage with you going through life and how you're able to navigate humanity as a whole in your favor. It's actually just an overwhelming edge that you will gain from learning EQ. It takes a lot longer, and some people, yes, have, based on environmental upbringing and other things in their life, do have more of that already ingrained in them and not realizing it, and some people have none. So these are the 4 quadrants, I would say, in my opinion, in my track record in sales, which I have a very decorated one, is that you need to learn them in order to be hyper successful in sales. Learn to master these and you'll make an incredible living in sales and you'll never go broke. So if you found this helpful, down below we have some amazing links and resources for you to tap into some other great things. We have a free community underneath. We've got other amazing resources that you can leverage in sales, other things that are paid, not paid, whatever. We want to provide y'all with more resources so you continue to crush it. And any questions you got down below, let me know. And I will answer them when we go live during the week in our weekly lives on YouTube. So I'll catch you guys on the next video. See you then.